outdoor time. And supported by Ryan, and you know, Ryan's experience again speaks for itself, but to have the player perspective and experience that Ryan has, I'm not sure there's any other players on the men's side of our game that has won as much in the Canadian jersey as Ryan Getzlaf. He's won an under-18 world championship. He's won a World Juniors. He's won a men's world championship. He's won back-to-back Olympic winter games. He's won a World Cup, and then just to add to that, he's won a Stanley Cup. We are incredibly fortunate to have people with the quality of character of Doug Armstrong and Ryan Getzlaf, and I'm confident with their leadership that we're going to put together some teams and some people that will make Canadians proud. So again, thank you, Doug, and thanks to Ryan.
Merci, Scott. I would now like to invite Doug Armstrong to provide a brief statement. Doug?
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to thank Pat and Kathy for this great opportunity to work with Sammy and Ryan moving forward. I've been fortunate to work with great people in Hockey Canada for a number of years, starting with Bob Nicholson and Steve Eiserman, going through the Olympics all the way through. And we understand the challenges ahead of us. We understand that hockey's never been stronger across the globe, and the competition is going to be great. What we can't guarantee victory, but we can guarantee the work ethic and the thought process that will go behind not only the Olympic Games in 2026, but the tournaments leading up to that will be paramount, and we'll put a product on the ice that all Canadians can be proud of. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and I look forward to getting to work.
Merci, Doug. And finally, I would like to invite Ryan Getzlaf to make a brief statement. Ryan?
Had some technical difficulties with Ryan, but we're able to hear him.
Ryan, try again. Please go ahead.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
go ahead,
Ryan.
Go ahead, Ryan. Thank you.
Sorry, thanks, guys. I'd like to thank Scott, Doug, Pat, and Kathy as well. This is an opportunity of a lifetime for myself to grow in the game and learn and get Canada back to where I know to be. And, you know, going into this, my mindset is to try and bridge the gap between player and management. And that's something that I have a great deal of confidence in, and the fact that I've been doing it for a long time as a captain of an NHL hockey club. I've been fortunate enough to play for Canada at many different levels and understand what the success is and what it means to put on that jersey each and every time you do. I'm really looking forward to this opportunity, and thank you everyone for this.
Merci, Ryan. Thank you. I will now turn it over to our colleague Esther Medzia to open the room to questions from media representatives. Esther?
Thank you, Dominic. If you would like to ask a question, please raise your hand to enter the queue. We will open your mic when it is your turn, and you will be able to unmute yourself. We will then allow one question and one follow-up question per person, and if time permits, we will allow additional questions. When it is your turn, please state your name, your media organization, and who your question is for. We will start with Josh Clipperton. Josh, please go ahead.
Hey, gentlemen, congratulations. This was for Doug. Doug, you were pretty far down the road in this process and put a lot of work in 2022 before the plug was pulled. What was it like to have that taken away?
It was obviously disappointing for myself, but more importantly for the players. You see the passion that the players have when they talk about Olympic participation. It's right with the Stanley Cup, as the Stanley Cup is our main goal as we work in this, but the Olympics are right there. And working with the players and getting to know some of the leadership group and not having that opportunity for them to realize their dreams was difficult. And we've waited a while, and now we're excited to be back at it.
And just follow up, but you have so much talent to choose from on the ice. You went through this process again, like I mentioned, 22, but what's the toughest part of the job? Because there's lots of armchair GMs out there.
Yeah, I think it's just being patient. I think that there's going to be a lot of mock teams selected by our 30 million plus assistant GMs, and we'll scour those and trying to find the great tidbits. But it's using the time that we have, trying to pick not only the best players, but the players that make the best team, and that's where Getsy's going to come in and share his experiences. And I think that we all understand, or this is my belief, that I'm not naive. When you work for Hockey Canada, to take a baseball analogy, we start on third base, but we still have to get home. And that's our job, is to get from third to home right now. And with the talent that we have, not only on the ice, but in coaching and in management and training staffs and support staffs, it's a great opportunity to work with these guys and make Canada proud.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Do we have any other questions? Please use the raise hand function. Josh, go ahead.
All right, I wasn't expecting a one-on-one or a one-on-four, whatever. This is for Ryan. What was it like to miss out on 2018 purely for business reasons from the NHL? And what would it be like to see some of the guys like McDavid, McKinnon, and Matthews on the other side that have never got this chance?
Hi, sorry. Yes, this is going to be a great opportunity to see, the best guys in the world that have wanted to compete for Canada at many different times. And I think that, not having that opportunity was a bit of a letdown for all those guys. And I think that they're going to be eager to go, and I'm very excited to see what they can do on that big stage.
And just, Ryan, follow up on your role. You played in a lot of tournaments. You're going to be sort of like the conduit between the players and the management, is my understanding. Have you felt a disconnect in the past in this environment? And what do you sort of hope to bring? Do you sort of build on that?
I wouldn't say I felt a disconnect. I think that Hockey Canada has always treated us very well, and we'd always had a great understanding when we got to this tournament what was expected. But I think with the gap, not playing in the last Olympics, I think I've sat in those locker rooms a short time ago with a lot of these guys, been on the ice against them. I can help in any way I can bridge that gap and manage the expectation between the two in understanding what the modern player needs as opposed to more of the old school type mentality.
Great, thanks. And Esther, since I'm the only person on the call, it seems like who's asking questions, can I just ask Doug one more about just his plan for the World Championships and the face-off? Like, when do you want to have those management teams and coaches kind of set?
Well, we'll certainly go this by direct order. This year's Worlds, we'd like to have a manager named within the next 10 days to 2 weeks. I think that gives them enough ample time to put a staff together, to scout, to prepare. I think for the Four Nations, probably pre-playoff would be a good time, as we want to use the Worlds and the playoffs as a barometer to scout. So those would be the two main ones. And again, we want to use time as an ally as we move forward in naming people.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks very much, Josh. Scott, what led you and Hockey Canada as a whole to select Doug as lead of the management group? We know his experience, obviously, but what else does Doug bring? What is it?
Well, I think we said earlier, I think character, integrity, two things that come to mind right away. Doug's day job is obviously very important, and I know how hard he works for the St. Louis Blues, but his work ethic, his ability to connect with people, and his experience, around our programs in particular, and understanding those players and what it takes to win, I think for me sets him apart from a lot of others. When I look back, since 2002, Doug's only the third general manager of our Olympic teams. Wayne Gretzky, Steve Yzerman, and Doug Armstrong. That's pretty good company.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Scott. I would like to put a call in one more time for any more questions. Please use the raise hand function. Josh, go ahead.
I just got one more for you guys, I promise. Doug, you've been to this tournament and other roles, the Olympics I'm talking about. What's it like? What's it like to be in those moments? Not so much the build-up, but at the tournament and just the highs and lows once you've actually made all the decisions and you just got to watch the players play.
We can answer that two different ways. I think the competition itself, it's at a high level. You understand that the stage that you're on, but when you're at the event, when you're leading into the event, the realization that you're just a small part of a much bigger team. Rubbing shoulders and watching the other coaches or management, but more importantly, athletes from curling to skiing to all the other different events that are there. You understand that hockey is a part of something, but just a part of something much bigger. And I remember in Vancouver being at the hotel and watching the gold rings go up when people won medals. It was really good. And then being in Sochi on foreign turf, it was exciting, and watching all the other athletes do it. So I think when the game starts, it just becomes team versus team. But it's much different than the Stanley Cup playoffs or the NHL regular season, where you understand you are something of a smaller part of a much bigger team.
All right, thanks again, guys.
A question for Ryan. Ryan, what are the biggest differences between players when you played and the players now that you would have to manage?
I think some of the differences revolve around just the mindset of a player when they go into the different games, different tournaments, and how they're able to adapt and the things that they expect when they get to the rink. And that's something we've had to manage over the years in changing and adapting and making sure that the players have as much information as possible. I think that back when I first came in the league, we didn't necessarily need to know everything. We just needed to know what the end goal was, and we tried to get there. The modern player now, I think, wants as much information as possible. I think that's dealing with all the analytics stuff and everything. Anything we can give these players to help them succeed is what our goal is.
Great, thank you very much. I will turn it over to Mike Morreale from NHL.com. Mike, go ahead. Mike? Mike Morreale, go ahead.
Looks like Mike's muted.
Mike, are you there? Okay, Mike, I will try and come back to you. Try and come back to you with your question. Doug, with so much external noise from fans and other hockey people, how do you plan to manage that and not let certain perceptions or ideas of players or lineups leak into the decision making?
Yeah, I view that as an asset. I think it's passion. I think it's the love of the game, the love of being Canadian. It's part and parcel with the job responsibility. One thing I laughed at yesterday when the story, people say, what's the pressure like? And, does this age you? When I talked to Scotty yesterday morning, I was 59. And then when I read I was coming on board, I was 64. So in a day, it aged me 5 years. So I'm hoping it doesn't continue that quickly. But I just think the passion of Canadians is great. And using all the resources that we have, and I think that goes back to why we're doing it this way, is to use as many resources over the events leading up to the Olympics to gain information.
Great, thank you. Mike Morreale, I will try to go to you again. Your mic is available. Please go ahead. Do we have any other questions? Okay, seeing no additional questions, I will turn it back over to Dominic. Thank you.
Merci, Esther. Thanks to the Canadian Press and all media representatives who participated in today's call. Thank you, Pat, Scott, Doug, and Ryan for taking the time. This concludes today's media availability. Merci à tous les membres des médias de votre participation aujourd'hui. Merci particulièrement à Pat McLaughlin, Scott Salmon, Doug Armstrong et Ryan Getzlaff de votre temps. Ceci conclut notre disponibilité média. Thanks everyone and see you soon. Merci à tous et à bientôt.